The unexpected invitation. The message arrived on a Thursday, appearing simultaneously on every communication system across Earth. It came as sweeping waves of light dancing through the planet's digital networks, bypassing all security protocols as if they were children's toys. When Earth's linguists and cryptographers finally deciphered it, the content sent shockwaves through every government and institution on the planet. Earth had been invited to join the Galactic Council. Commander Eliza Chen stared at the official summons in her hands, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic seal of the United Earth government. She had been selected to represent humanity at the Council, a decision that left her more confused than honored. Why me? She asked the room of somber officials gathered in the Pentagon's Crisis Command Center. I'm a military strategist, not a diplomat. Secretary General Williams stepped forward, his weathered face grave. That's precisely why, Commander. This isn't just a diplomatic mission, it's reconnaissance. Something about this invitation doesn't add up. Our planet has barely established colonies on Mars, and we've only sent unmanned probes to the outer planets. By all accounts, we're centuries away from qualifying for membership in any interstellar community. Chen ran her fingers through her short black hair, a habit when deep in thought. You think it's a trap? I think we need someone who can read between the lines, Williams replied. Someone who understands strategic maneuvering and can recognize when we're being played. 3 days later, an alien vessel arrived in Earth's orbit. It hovered silently above the Pacific Ocean, its hull gleaming with an iridescent material that seemed to bend light around itself. The ship was elegant and organic in design, resembling a massive silver leaf suspended among the stars. The alien who emerged from the transport beam introduced himself as Scallon, diplomatic liaison, to the Galactic Council. Standing nearly 7 feet tall with pale blue skin that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, he moved with fluid grace that made human movements seem clumsy by comparison. Commander Chen, Xalan said, his voice resonating with harmonics impossible for human vocal cords. The Council awaits Earth's voice. We must depart within the planetary cycle. Chen noticed immediately that something was off about the alien diplomat. Though his translator device conveyed perfect English, his 4 eyes kept darting around, never meeting her gaze directly. His posture, though elegant, seemed tense, coiled like a spring ready to release. I'm honored by the Council's invitation, Chen replied carefully. Though I must admit, we're surprised to have qualified for consideration. Xalan's skin flickered with patterns Chen couldn't interpret. The Council's decisions are complex. Some matters transcend standard protocols. That night, as preparations for departure continued, Chen secured a private channel to Earth Command. There's more happening here than a simple invitation, she reported. When I asked directly about qualification requirements, our friend Xalan practically glowed with discomfort. Someone wants us on that council, and someone else definitely doesn't. Proceed with extreme caution, Williams instructed. Remember your primary mission. Determine Earth's true position in this galactic game before we commit to playing. The alien vessel departed Earth the next morning, accelerating at speeds that should have turned Chen to paste. Yet, she felt nothing. The ship's artificial gravity and inertial dampening systems were centuries beyond Earth's technology. In her private quarters, Chen studied the files about the Galactic Council provided by Xalan. The organization comprised representatives from 247 spacefaring civilizations, governing everything from trade routes to colonization rights across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. The Council's history stretched back over 10,000 years, a humbling thought for humanity, whose entire recorded history was barely 6,000. One phrase kept appearing throughout the documents: the emergence question. It was never explained, never directly addressed, but always mentioned in passages concerning new council members. Chen flagged it for further investigation. On the 3rd day of their journey, Xalan invited Chen to the ship's observation deck. Through a transparent section of hull, she gazed at the cosmic tapestry of stars stretching into infinity. Beautiful, isn't it? Xalan said, standing beside her. Breathtaking, Chen agreed. In all our scientific advancement, we never truly appreciated how vast the galaxy is. Most species feel that way at first, Xalon replied. It passes. Chen turned to face him directly. Why was Earth invited to join the council, Xalon? The truth this time. The alien skin patterns shifted to deep blues and purples. Politics, he admitted. The council is divided into factions. The preservers believe in minimal interference with developing worlds. The accelerationists seek to elevate promising species quickly. The traditionalists maintain the ancient ways, and the expansionists push for constant growth. He paused. Earth has become a point of contention among them. Why would advanced civilizations care about our undeveloped planet? Xalon's 4 eyes focused on her with unsettling intensity. Because humanity doesn't follow the expected evolutionary patterns. Your species adapts at an alarming rate, not just biologically, but technologically and socially. Some find this concerning. Others see opportunity. So we're pawns in a political game, Chen stated flatly. All new members are, to some extent, Xalon replied. But Earth is different. There are predictions, ancient ones, about a species like yours. Before Chen could press further, Xalon abruptly excused himself, leaving her with more questions than answers. The ship's journey continued for 9 more days, during which Chen was introduced to several other alien representatives traveling to Celestia Station, the massive artificial habitat where the council convened. Among them was Nyx, a crystalline being who communicated through light pulses translated by a device similar to Xalon's. You should be wary, human, Nyx told Chen during a shared meal in the ship's communal area. Your invitation was not unanimously approved. So I've gathered, Chen replied. Care to share which faction opposed us? Nyx's crystalline form refracted light in complex patterns, all of them, at various points. Your species is an unknown variable in carefully balanced equations. Some fear you will grow too powerful too quickly. Others worry you will repeat the mistakes of the Voidborn. The Voidborn, a species that is no longer with us, Nyx said simply, ending the conversation. As they approached Celestia Station, Chen received an anonymous message on her personal device, a device that should have been impossible to access without Earth security protocols. The seat they offer is not the one you think. Watch for the emergence question. Not all who vote for you wish you well. Celestia Station appeared first as a point of light brighter than the surrounding stars. As they drew closer, its true scale became apparent, a massive ring structure larger than Earth's moon, rotating slowly to generate artificial gravity within. The outer ring bristled with docking bays, observation decks, and defense systems. The inner surfaces housed countless habitats, each designed for different species requirements. Their ship docked at one of hundreds of specialized ports. Chen gathered her minimal luggage, including the ceremonial Earth uniform created specifically for this mission. A sleek blue and silver design, inspired by both military and diplomatic traditions. We have arrived, Xalon announced, appearing at her door. The Council will formally receive Earth's representative tomorrow. Tonight, there is a welcoming reception for new arrivals. I'm looking forward to it, Chen lied smoothly. As she followed Xalon through the massive docking bay, Chen observed thousands of alien beings from countless worlds moving purposefully through the station. Some floated on anti-gravity platforms, others slithered along specialized pathways, while many walked on various configurations of limbs. The diversity was staggering. The reception was held in a vast chamber with variable gravity zones to accommodate different physiologies. Transparent walls revealed the stunning panorama of space beyond, with stars and nearby planets visible in breathtaking clarity. Chen was introduced to dozens of representatives, each more alien than the last. She maintained her diplomatic composure while carefully noting which species seemed receptive to humanity's presence and which radiated obvious hostility. A tall, slender being with translucent skin approached her midway through the evening. Unlike most aliens who relied on translation devices, this one spoke perfect English. "Commander Chen of Earth," the being said, bowing slightly. "I am Siler, representing the Luminary Collective. We voted in favor of Earth's invitation." "I'm grateful for your support," Chen replied cautiously. "Do not be," Siler said, leaning closer. "No vote on the Council is cast without purpose. Tomorrow, when you are presented with the emergence question, remember that the expected answer is not always the right one." Before Chen could respond, Siler glided away, mixing with the crowd. Later that night, alone in her assigned quarters, Chen compiled everything she had learned about Earth's unexpected invitation. The political factions, the ancient predictions, the mysterious warnings, all pointed to Earth being thrust into a complex game whose rules remained obscure. She encrypted her report and transmitted it back to Earth Command through channels Callan had provided, knowing full well the transmission would be monitored. In a separate encoded message hidden within routine telemetry data, a technique developed by Earth's military for covert operations, she sent her real assessment. "We're being set up as either saviors or scapegoats. The Council is using Earth to force some kind of decision or revelation. We'll attend tomorrow's session as planned, but prepared for hostile action. If I don't report back within 24 hours, assume the worst." As artificial night fell across her section of Celestia Station, Commander Chen reviewed the formal protocols for tomorrow's Council introduction one final time. Whatever the emergence question was, she would be ready. Earth's future among the stars depended on her answer. The empty seat. The morning of Earth's formal introduction to the Galactic Council began with pain. Commander Eliza Chen awoke to searing agony coursing through her body. Her vision blurred as she struggled to reach the communication panel near her bed. When her fingers finally found the emergency button, she could barely summon the strength to press it. Minutes later, Xalan burst into her quarters with 2 medical officers, beings with multiple limbs and sensory appendages. Chen was too disoriented to properly observe. "Poisoned," one of the medics announced after scanning her, a compound targeted specifically to human physiology. "Impossible," Xalan protested. "The station's security protocols were bypassed." The medic interrupted. "This was precisely calculated. She will survive, but not recover in time for today's council session." As the medics administered treatment, Chen fought through waves of pain to focus her thoughts. "The session," she gasped. "Cannot miss it. Earth's formal introduction must proceed as scheduled," Xalan stated, his skin patterns pulsing with agitation. "The political implications of delay would be problematic." "Then Earth's seat remains empty," the second medic said flatly. Chen watched Xalan's reaction carefully through her pain-blurred vision. For a moment, his composed diplomatic mask slipped, revealing something that looked suspiciously like relief. Or was it fear? "So be it," he said finally. "I will inform the Council that Earth's representative has been indisposed due to an adjustment to station conditions. The empty seat will stand as Earth's temporary position." As the medics transferred Chen to the medical bay, her tactical mind, despite the poison, began calculating possibilities. Someone had wanted her absent from that session, but was it to silence Earth's voice, or to ensure the seat remained conspicuously empty? The Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of engineering and artistry. Arranged in concentric rings, 247 unique seats accommodated the diverse physiologies of member species. The chamber's dome displayed a real-time holographic representation of the Milky Way galaxy, with member worlds illuminated in brilliant blue. In the innermost ring sat the 7 Primarchs, representatives of the founding species who had established the Council 10 millennia ago. The middle rings housed established members, while the outermost ring was reserved for newly admitted civilizations. Earth's designated seat, now empty, was positioned in this outer ring. When Xalan announced Commander Chen's absence, a ripple of murmurs and translated communications swept through the chamber. From her medical bay, Chen watched the proceedings on a monitor, courtesy of a sympathetic medical technician named Viz. The empty seat has caused quite a stir, Viz commented, adjusting Chen's treatment regimen. Most unusual for an introduction ceremony. Why? Chen asked, her voice still weak. Surely representatives miss sessions occasionally. Not introduction sessions, Viz replied, multifaceted eyes blinking in sequence. In 10,000 years, no new member has ever failed to attend their introduction. The symbolism is significant. On the monitor, Chen watched as the Primarchs conferred among themselves. Finally, the central figure, a being composed of what appeared to be swirling gases contained within a humanoid force field, addressed the assembly. The Council acknowledges Earth's absence, the Primarch announced. As is tradition, we shall proceed with the emergence question despite the empty seat. Let the record show that Earth's silence will be interpreted according to ancient protocol. Chen's attention sharpened. The emergence question, she whispered. What is it? Viz looked uncomfortable. It is the question that determines a species' path within the Council. The traditional first question asked of all new members. On screen, the gas-form Primarch continued. To the representative of Earth, we ask, does your civilization seek acceleration or preservation? Silence fell across the chamber. All attention focused on Earth's empty seat. The silence stretched for exactly 1 minute before the Primarch spoke again. Earth's silence has been recorded as its answer. According to the ancient texts, when the question remains unanswered, the species has chosen the third path. Chaos erupted in the council chamber. Representatives rose from their seats, translation devices struggling to keep up with the multitude of protests and exclamations. Some delegates appeared outraged, others stunned, and a small minority seemed smugly satisfied. This cannot be, shouted a massive reptilian being. The third path has not been invoked in 7,000 years. The protocols are clear, countered a representative composed entirely of interconnected metallic spheres. Silence is the invocation of the observer status. Earth has chosen to watch rather than participate, intentionally or not, added another delegate. Chen turned to Viz, whose expression revealed stunned disbelief. What just happened? She demanded. Your empty seat, Viz said slowly, has just thrown the entire council into disarray. The third path, observer status, hasn't been claimed since the Luminary Collective joined the council. It grants special privileges and exemptions that have fallen out of common knowledge. And this benefits Earth how? Chen pressed. Observer status places Earth outside the normal factional politics, Viz explained. You cannot be voted against in absentia. You cannot be assigned obligations without consent. You observe and judge rather than participate and be judged. The alien technician's voice dropped to a whisper. Some believe the founders themselves began as observers before establishing the council. Chen's tactical mind raced with implications. Someone poisoned me specifically to ensure Earth's seat remained empty during the emergence question. It would appear so, Viz agreed. I need to speak with Siler of the Luminary Collective, Chen said, attempting to sit up. Not yet, Viz gently pushed her back. The treatment must complete its cycle. But I can bring visitors here. 2 hours later, Siler's translucent form glided into the medical bay. The being's internal light patterns pulsed with what Chen interpreted as excitement. Commander Chen, Siler greeted her. You have accomplished what no strategist could have planned. The empty seat gambit was executed perfectly. It wasn't a gambit, Chen said flatly. I was poisoned. Of course you were, Siler replied matter-of-factly, by a member of my own collective, at my instruction. A temporary compound that causes significant distress, but no permanent damage. Chen's hand moved instinctively toward the weapon she wasn't carrying. You poisoned me. To save your species, Siler countered. Had you attended and answered the emergence question as briefed by Xalin, Earth would have been locked into a subservient role within the Council for centuries. The accelerationists and preservers have been manipulating new members for millennia, using the false binary of the emergence question to maintain control. And the third path. Observer status grants Earth unprecedented freedom. You may learn from all factions without being constrained by any. You may develop along your natural trajectory without interference. Siler's form brightened. This is why the ancient predictions about humanity concern the established powers. Your species' adaptability and unpredictability make you dangerous, but potentially transformative to galactic politics. Chen studied the alien carefully. What predictions? The luminary archives speak of a young species arising late in the Council's history, a species that walks a path of its own making. Neither acceleration nor preservation would define them. They would reshape the galaxy not through superior technology or biology, but through unconventional thinking and adaptive problem-solving. Siler paused. Sound familiar? Before Chen could respond, the medical bay door slid open to admit Salon, whose skin patterns displayed clear agitation. "You have created a diplomatic crisis," he said accusingly to Chen. "Earth's status must be normalized immediately. You must petition the Council to rescind observer status and properly answer the emergence question." "Why?" Chen asked simply. The question seemed to catch Helen off guard. Because balance must be maintained. The system has functioned for 10,000 years. Functioned for whom? Chen countered, sitting up despite her lingering weakness. "From what I've gathered, Earth was invited here to be a pawn in your factional disputes. Now that we've accidentally claimed a position outside your control, you're panicking." "You don't understand the consequences," Zalin insisted. "Observer status places Earth under intense scrutiny. You will be watched, analyzed, judged by criteria no other modern species has faced." "Good," Chen said firmly. "Let them watch. Humanity has always performed best with an audience." In the days that followed, Chen's recovery progressed rapidly thanks to the advanced medical technology. Meanwhile, Earth's unprecedented status became the central topic of debate throughout Celestia Station. Delegations from various factions sought private audiences with Chen, alternately attempting to persuade, bribe, or threaten Earth into relinquishing observer status. 1 week after the fateful council session, Chen was finally strong enough to address the council personally. Dressed in her formal Earth uniform, she stood before the assembled representatives of 247 civilizations, their collective attention fixed upon the human who had inadvertently challenged 10 millennia of political tradition. "Distinguished members of the Galactic Council," Chen began, her voice steady, "I come before you not to apologize for Earth's unorthodox entry into your community, but to embrace it. The circumstances that led to our observer status may have been unexpected, but having learned of its significance, I formally confirm Earth's claim to the third path." Murmurs rippled through the chamber as translation devices conveyed her words to each species. "Earth does not seek acceleration at the cost of our natural development," Chen continued. "Nor do we desire preservation at the expense of progress. Humanity has always forged its own path through history, learning, adapting, evolving through both triumph and catastrophe. We will continue to do so among the stars." The Primarch of the Founders rose, gas form swirling intensely. "You speak boldly for a species that has barely left its home planet. What gives humanity the right to claim the observer role traditionally reserved for the most ancient and wise civilizations?" "Nothing gives us that right," Chen acknowledged. "Yet according to your own ancient protocols, silence in response to the emergence question automatically confers observer status. My absence, whether caused by happenstance or design, created that silence. The real question is, why does this outcome disturb the established order so profoundly?" A tense silence followed her question. "I believe," Chen continued, "that Earth was invited to this council because something about humanity frightens some of you and intrigues others. Our unpredictability, our adaptability, our tendency to defy expected patterns, these qualities make us valuable pieces in your political games. but they also make us poorly suited to the traditional roles you've established." She paused, surveying the diverse beings before her. "Earth accepts observer status not out of arrogance, but because it allows us to learn from all without being controlled by any. We will observe your successes and your failures. We will listen to all factions and judge based on evidence rather than tradition. And when we eventually take a more active role in galactic affairs, it will be with the wisdom gained from watching all paths, not just the two you've deemed acceptable." A representative from the accelerationist faction stood abruptly. "This is unprecedented. A primitive species claiming the mantle of judgment over ancient civilizations." "Not judgment," Chen corrected. "Perspective. Fresh eyes see patterns that ancient ones have grown blind to. Earth offers the Council something it desperately needs, a new viewpoint unconstrained by millennia of factional thinking." Surprisingly, it was Callan who spoke in Earth's defense. "Commander Chen speaks truth we have long avoided. Our factions have calcified. We recite the same arguments across centuries, while the galaxy changes around us. Perhaps the third path exists in our traditions precisely for moments like this." The debate raged for hours, with representatives from all factions weighing in on Earth's status. Chen stood firm, neither conceding nor antagonizing, demonstrating the diplomatic skill that Secretary General Williams had recognized beneath her military exterior. Finally, the Primarchs called for a vote, not on Earth's status, which was protected by ancient protocol, but on whether to establish formal procedures for interacting with an observer species in the modern Council era. The motion passed by a narrow margin. Earth would remain an observer, but with clearly defined rights and responsibilities within the Council framework. As Chen left the Council chamber, Siler fell into step beside her. "You performed admirably," the luminary representative said. "Few species could navigate such complex politics on their first attempt. I doubt many are thrown into the deep end quite like we were," Chen replied. "True, but that is exactly why the predictions center on humanity. Your species thrives when challenged, adapts when threatened, and innovates when constrained. These qualities are rare in the galaxy." "So what happens now?" Chen asked as they walked through the crowded corridors of Celestia Station. "Now," Siler said, internal lights pulsing with what might have been amusement, "the real work begins. Earth's empty seat has changed the Council's dynamics for the first time in thousands of years. Factions are realigning. Old alliances breaking, new possibilities emerging." Chen smiled slightly. "All because I didn't show up to a meeting." "Sometimes," Siler replied, "the most powerful statement is silence. Your empty seat spoke volumes about humanity's potential to forge its own path among the stars. The galaxy will never be the same." Back in her quarters, Shen prepared her report to Earth Command. The situation had evolved far beyond the simple reconnaissance mission she had been assigned. Earth now stood at a pivotal moment in its history, the first human steps into a complex interstellar community that had existed for millennia before humanity had even developed writing. As observer, Earth would gain access to knowledge from all Council species without being bound by their limitations. Human development would proceed on its own trajectory, informed by galactic wisdom, but not controlled by it. And when the time came for humanity to take a more active role in galactic politics, it would do so from a position of unprecedented independence. Commander Eliza Chen looked out at the stars visible from her window on Celestia Station. Somewhere out there, Earth continued its journey around the sun, its people still largely unaware of how significantly their future had just changed. An empty seat had spoken for humanity more effectively than any words could have, and the entire galaxy had been forced to listen.